Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. I am Ash. This is today's comic, Superman #1, aka Superman 46, by Brian Michael Bendis. I say Superman 46 because this should have never been rebooted. This is a variant cover. I believe one of two standard variants. I kind of like what DC is doing with these full art variants, so I've been picking them up. I like this one better than the other. Let's get on with the book. The Unity Saga. I almost canceled this book because of Man of Steel, particularly Man of Steel #6, which I have reviews for. By all means, please check those out, especially if you're interested in Superman, this book, and you haven't read that series. This book is essentially Man of Steel #7. It bothers me a lot. Number one, that Man of Steel ended so stupid and did some really stupid things. But in my previous review, I commented how Man of Steel should not have been a comic at all. It should have just been Superman 1, 2, 3, whatever. It should have just been part of the ongoing series. And as this issue shows, it backs up my thinking on that. They're just continuing the story. Again, nice little summary in case you didn't read Man of Steel, which also backs up how useless Man of Steel was. Just DC extorting $25 from its fans. Alright, so enough of that. Let's talk about this particular comic on its own merit. So we get a rehash of what's going on. If you haven't been following, Rogol-Zar, big, huge bad guy who destroyed Krypton, supposedly, was defeated by by Supergirl in Man of Steel. Supergirl defeated him, sent him to the Phantom Zone, and now Superman is off to find my family, because in that comic, his family ran off with his dad into the far reaches of the galaxy, who knows, and his little communicator, magic comic technology device that allowed him to communicate got destroyed, so Superman's going to fly off and find him. I want to take this time real quick, too. DC has changed, at least for this book, their paper stock. It is a thicker, matte stock. You may notice on camera there's no real glare. I highly approve. This is the kind of stock you find in like the high quality indies, like Image might be doing. I was surprised to open this up. The comic feels thicker because of it, which has a nice little heft. I really like it. The gloss pages are okay under the right lighting, but they can tend to be, if you don't have the right lighting, that gloss is just terrible. And I just like this matte. It's not newsprint, but it kind of offers some of those qualities of newsprint, which I can't really, the camera's not going to do that justice other than the fact you don't see the glare. But I really wanted to mention that, and I hope DC continues with this. If I'm going to pay $3.99 for a comic, put the production values in. So Superman's flying off in the galaxy, and he points out, but the reality is it's a rather big galaxy, and I have no idea where I'm going. And this annoys me. Okay, so I know that comic books, sorry for the noise out, jeez, I was driving by. I know that comic books kind of operate on their own make-believe science sort of thing, and there's a high level of suspension of disbelief is needed when you read comic books. I've been reading for a long time, even though I had a huge gap, and I'm kind of relatively new of the current comics. This is silly to me. Superman, A, doesn't fold space. I don't think that's one of his new powers. So even if Superman could fly at light speed, which would seem ridiculous to me, the nearest star he could get to would take what I believe was like 30 years, like 30 light years away, just for the nearest star. It's like Bendis was writing this and just had no idea about how big space is. And I'm sure he's not the first to do this with Superman, to fly out into space and do whatever. You can't. It's just, space is way too big. Okay? Like I said, unless you're folding space, which I don't know if Superman does. Second of all, does he have some sort of navigational systems? As soon as you get away from Earth, unless you're a master astronomer, you're going to be lost. And even a master astronomer, once they get far enough away, is probably going to be lost, because the stars as we view them in the sky are based on our perspective. Once you're in you change that perspective, stars are in a different alignment, and you no longer can use them to navigate in the same way you did. It's just silly. Come on. Superman can't fly across the galaxy. Second, where's the yellow? He needs a yellow sun. Okay? He is Superman because he's on Earth with a yellow sun. I saw a long time ago, I saw Superman fly off, and he went back into Krypton. And I remember I was a younger kid, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, how can he be Superman at the star system where Krypton was? And he's whatever. So I'm lingering on this for too long. I just thought that was silly, and I'm already kind of in a bad mood from Bendis' Man of Steel run. So I'm looking at this from the wrong perspective. So he's looking for his family, and all of a sudden, hey, look, there's an alien fleet coming. How convenient. It's the Dominators. And he's like, oh, I asked for a sign. For years, the Dominators will wonder how their invasion of Earth was thwarted before they even got near it. Yay, Superman just happened to be in the neighborhood, and he stops them. Okay, so we get some nice pinup shot art of Superman blasting aliens. This action is all really kind of pointless, however. We have this internal monologue of Superman realizing that as badly as he wants to find Lois and John, that he's needed on Earth, so he flies back home. And then we get this whole scene of Superman kind of reminiscing about Lois and John. And how many pages are we in here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and nothing has happened. Nothing. This is all covered in Man of Steel, which we know now is a waste of time. 7th page. Superman's more reminiscing about John. At least John in this case is portrayed more like John that I remember, rather than the stupid John in Man of Steel. But again, it's weird because it's the same writer. Now is writing John 2 different ways. So was that 7? Page 8. Finally. Page 8. They're mourning the loss of the Fortress of Solitude. And we got the Justice League, and they have some banter, which was interesting to read, I guess. If you like the characters, kind of just talking to each other. But nothing very meaningful. And Superman's deciding what he's going to do. He gets his little crystal and decides he's going to make a new Fortress of Solitude. Using the Krypton technology. Just throw crystals down and they make buildings. But he's going to do it in the Bermuda Triangle for some stupid reason. So here we go. 2-page spread of the new Fortress of Solitude in the Bermuda Triangle. And yes, it's above water. So apparently ships and planes are just going to be flying across this all the time. Who was asleep at the editor's desk at DC that thought this was okay? Bermuda is a shipping lane. There's actually an island out there called Bermuda. People live. There's a lot of lore about Bermuda Triangle, like, ships getting lost and planes crashing. That was before satellite technology. That all happened at the early 1900s. and the myth kind of built around it. That doesn't happen today. Okay? We monitor this area extremely closely because it's a massive hurricane area. Yeah, this is super silly to me. Especially, at first I was like, okay, it's going to be underwater. You know, which will be cool because that would kind of like tie Superman a little bit into Aquaman more, and have this little connective tissue, and maybe have, you know, some good reasons to cross over the characters. But no, it's a big pyramid, and at the end of the book, the artist talks about his design, and it's supposed to be like an iceberg. So you're only seeing the tip, and the mass of it is underwater. But even the fact that the tip is exposed, just whatever. Just nothing matters, you know. Just Superman can fly around space, not get lost, go anywhere he wants. So now we're back to the Daily Planet. Clark's just doing his job, and nothing happens really here. It's a waste, and he gets a call. Cal, do you have a moment? Yeah, hold on. Ducks into a closet. I don't know what Bendis was trying to communicate here, and the artist. It's like this guy walks by, notices Clark ducks into the closet, eyeballs utility closet, rolls his eyes. Is he thinking that Clark's going in there to spank one off? Like, and if that's the case, why is DC telling something like that in a Superman comic? Like, it's a pointless joke that's stupid in a comic, a mainstream comic for kids. Okay, finally, something's maybe happening. Here we go. Martian Manhunter, yay! Goes, talks to Martian Manhunter, having some talks. Oh, you know, basically, I used to think we weren't so similar because they're talking about Martian Manhunter's a victim of. Basically, his tragedy is because of war. Superman's tragedy was because of a natural disaster. But now they're comparing the two and being like, oh, it turns out that maybe you're just like me. Oh, okay. I guess it's a worthwhile dialogue, but is there a point to it? I don't know. Hold that thought. Zip away. Hold on. Random LOL monster. So this gigantic, massive Godzillasaurus is running around, presumably Metropolis. I don't know, because Superman can fly at speeds faster than light, apparently. So he could be anywhere. This could be even another planet for all I know, but I'm going to assume it's Metropolis. And bang, monster's dead or knocked out or who knows. Nothing matters because zip, I'm back. What were you saying? Hold on that thought. Oh, save the people from the fire. Oh, thanks, Superman. Zip back. Okay, what were you saying? Hold on. Zip. Going to the moon. Oh, look, Gorilla Zod is Gorilla Grodd. Sorry, not Gorilla Zod. Is on the moon. Oh, he's doing something with the space shuttle. Gosh, Superman stopped him. Yay! Back. What were you talking about? So Martian Manhunter is trying to talk Superman into leading the world. It's basically saying, pretty soon we're gonna, not be an isolated planet. We're gonna join the galaxy and all the other spacefaring civilizations, become part of a galactic civilization. And Superman, he's saying, you should be the one to lead us, because who else? And this is where I started having red flags go up all over, and hearing all the people warn me about Bendis, and listening to Bendis' interviews before coming to DC about his intents of Superman. And here's the deal. If you're reading Superman, you know who Superman is. I'm hoping. But I'm just going to preach to the choir. And this is something I talk to people, usually like the naysayers of Superman. Superman is not interesting because he can beat the crap out of anyone. That's not what makes him interesting. He's not a Hulk type character. Okay? Superman naysayers don't like Superman most typically because they feel he's a boring character. He's like a god and nothing can threaten him. So they don't find him as interesting. So they're more interested in a character like Batman, who's just a human with all the flaws and all the mortal vulnerabilities. So it's more interesting to them to see him fight villains. Fair enough. Fair point. But what makes Superman interesting is that he is a god. He can do whatever he wants. And he chooses to do good. He chooses not to take control, to conquer the world. Think about this for a moment. Think about you as a person and your selfish desires. If you had the power of Superman, almost certainly you would not be Superman. Maybe if you're a fan of this comic, you might idealize yourself as that kind of person, but you're not. If you had the power to do whatever you wanted, chances are you would use it for selfish gain. That's human nature. I'm not calling you a bad person or whatever. It is extremely hard to always do the right thing when you don't have to. It would be very, very easy for someone like Superman to be like, you know what, all you idiots on Earth, shut the hell up. I'm taking control. You're going to do what I say because I'm the good guy. You know, it's like the Vader syndrome. Darth Vader is a villain and he's a bad guy because he's so powerful above the normal person and he doesn't understand that people can live. He feels that people can only really have a good life and the world and the galaxy, whatever, can only be good if he's in control. It's hubris. Superman doesn't have that hubris. So here we are talking about it and tempting, Martian Manhunter's tempting Kal-El, Superman, to take this offer. And red flags are screaming. And I'm like, oh God, if Bendis goes this route, you could ruin Superman forever. You will take the one thing of Superman that makes him Superman and destroy it. Fortunately, it doesn't happen in this book. Superman's flying around, but he's hearing echoes, temptations. His dad told him, oh, you put out fires in your baby clothes. That's not what I do. You could see this. It's bothering him. So he's flying around. Oh, wait a second. What's going on? What happened? I don't know. Fly around some more. What's going on? No, it can't be. No. The Earth is in the Phantom Zone. This is a cool shot. Ivan Reis. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Nice. Here, I'm gonna do a big pinup. You know, this would be a great poster. Oh, Earth's in the Phantom Zone. You have no clue up to this point that anything is even happening. There's no hint. There's nothing. It is literally like the end of Man of Steel. Pull out of my ass. Something happens. Bang. Oh, look at that. There's this. This is high school creative writing class failure. It's not how you write fiction. That's it. That's Superman #1. So essentially this whole book is just a bunch of wasted time for this. This is the issue. That's it right here. This is what it all amounts to. You don't need to read anything else. This. Pointless. DC just took $3.99 out of your pocket so you could get to that point. So here's the deal. When you're reading this book, it's not painful to read. Okay? Bendis is very easy on the writing. You know, his dialogue, his monologues, thoughts, everything. He is a skilled writer. You aren't bored reading his books. And he does understand story structure. So I can't sit there and say as I was reading this that I was just not enjoying it. I was. I got to be fair. But the end result, it just turns out to be a waste. After I'm done, I'm like, okay, well, I got a bunch of fun fluff that didn't matter. That just piles on the didn't matter of Man of Steel. And I thought DC editors were going to rein him in. I thought Bendis was going to be good at Marvel because Bendis would be good at DC because unlike Marvel, they would have editors. He wouldn't just get to phone shit in, wouldn't get to just run amok. Now I'm not so sure. The dialogue is fine. It's the events, the things that happen. Everything that I pointed out to you, you saw. You can judge for yourself. Read the book. It's not heinous. It's not like some of the trash that's coming out at Marvel. But this is Superman. This is DC's top dog along with Batman. Okay, this is the gold standard. This is the major leagues. This is best of the best. Okay, Batman, Superman should have top talent doing their best work. And I'm going to hold this to a higher standard because of that. And this book is not currently living up. It's still one issue. So I'm going to keep an open mind that bigger things are to come. But I can't recommend this. Yeah. Very disappointed. I'm going to buy issue number 2. See. I might hold out through the first trade arc. Unfortunately, you kind of have to do that in today's comics because they're written for the trade. But, yeah. I was excited on Man of Steel number 1. Not excited on this. So, thanks for sticking around this long, for watching. Hopefully I've given you enough information that you can make a solid decision for your buying. I'm disappointed. I'm really sad, DC.